Greetings, I am Samael the Reaper, and you're listening to the Dragon Between podcast, a 5th edition Dungeons & Dragons campaign set in the Eberron pulp fantasy setting by Keith Baker. New episodes are recorded every Sunday and released on the following week. Don't forget to subscribe to the YouTube channel for clips and future episodes. Follow us on Facebook and Twitter for updates and news on the podcast. Thanks for listening, and remember, I am watching you.
When the characters last met, they continued their mission aboard the Eyecatcher, resulting in an encounter between the dinner party and their host's Nimblewright servant. After hurling the Warforged out of the aft cabin window, the construct escaped from the group, leaving the characters all alone. Zara and Siegfried reconciled below deck in the brig and encountered an elderly gnome prisoner. It was then revealed that the man was in fact Dimble Timbers, the missing gnome that the group had pledged to find. The gnome artificer then explained to the duo that he had been a prisoner of the Volcorians, a tribe of drow from Zundrick. The gnome detailed the drow's plan to build a fleet of hybrid airships to rival House Lorandar, utilizing the elderly artificer's skills. Dimble then explained that the prototype submarine was currently attached to the underside of the Eyecatcher. After an encounter with an eavesdropping Zardoz Zord, Zara and Siegfried were led up to the aft deck, where their friends were all assembled. After tense conversation, the master of the Sea Maiden's Fair offered to forgive and forget about the dinner party's transgressions in exchange for completing a well-paying job to find the Stone of Galore, a mysterious artifact. The job was accepted with the following terms: that Zord remove the band of loyalty from Zara's finger and transfer it to Samael. Zardoz accepted and led the cleric and paladin to his chambers on the lowest deck, with Byron stealthily following. The ring was then transferred, and the characters were allowed to leave the vessel, promising to send word of their progress. The group were then flagged down in the harbor by the bronze dragon Zell, who made good on his promise of treasure. The characters made their way home to the manor, and one by one retired for the evening. Samael then risked serious injury or death and forcibly removed the band of loyalty, much to the shock of his companions, before everyone headed off to their long rest. A week has gone by, and the characters recovered from their ordeal, each taking time to relax and accomplish other tasks. On the morning of the 13th day of Ire, the hustle and bustle of Trollskull Alley was violently interrupted by an explosion that seemed to detonate just outside of the manor.
What the hells was that? I'm gonna rush downstairs.
Run to the window and check it out.
I do the same.
As you all head towards the windows and the various levels of the manor that you're currently on, you see that the immediate area just outside of the manor, the courtyard leading into the street, is filled with smoke and flames, an enormous blast mark in the center. And as you look around, you see folk are scattering from this area and screaming.
Can we get out the front door right now?
Would you like to go outside?
Yes.
Daytime or nighttime?
It is currently morning, actually. It is approximately 9 a.m.
Zara is going to immediately run back to her room, put on some clothes, and get like a scarf to cover her neck, because, something.
And apparently that scarf covered your microphone. All I heard was static.
Alright, can you hear me now?
Yes.
So Zara is going to get dressed, put a scarf around her neck to cover the thing that suddenly appeared that morning, and then run downstairs.
Okay. What about the rest of the group? Are you all heading outside?
Yes.
Okay.
I should be in the street by now. Do I see anybody out there?
Yes, you see folk who are further away from where the blast was, who are folk are crying. You see people who are coming out of their homes and businesses in the immediate area and the adjacent streets.
Does anyone look injured?
You see several bodies. Charred, blackened bodies of a few. Most of them appear to be, just from a cursory glance, appear to be that of a normal bipedal person. One of the bodies looks like to be, or I should say, several of the bodies are diminutive in nature. Like they could either be, to your first glance, either children or small folk.
Okay. I'm gonna rush on out into the street and see if I can find somebody standing there watching and ask them if they saw anything.
Okay. And you can now hear the sounds of screaming and someone's yelling off in the distance going, "Someone bring the watch and the guard down here at once. There's been a killing."
When I get down and I try to run for 8.
I'm going to do the same thing. Do I see anyone who's injured but not like burnt to a crisp?
Looking around, Zara, you see it looks like there are 11 bodies.
Is there any high ground around?
Sure. There's all of the buildings. You've got the manor, which is a tall building, and you have overlooking the front facade of the building. You have your balcony. There's also a balcony on the rear of the building.
Can I climb the manor?
You're climbing the manor?
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, you could always just go back inside and go outside. Or are
Go
you just
go,
are you
go up to the top and then go and see if I can get on the roof.
Okay, there's no access to the roof, so if you would like to climb to the roof, you can. You can just make a simple athletics check.
Acrobatics or athletics?
Actually, you should still have your ascension gun unless you got rid of it.
Yeah, I'll use that.
Do you still have it?
I should. I don't
Check
think I ever got
check
it.
your inventory to make sure it's still there, because I may have deleted it since you switched classes. Because that was part of your subclass.
No, I don't have it.
Okay, so yes, you'll need to make an athletics check. Okay, what are the rest of you guys doing? So, Zara, you're checking out the bodies. Nicholas
Yep.
is running up to the roof. And what are the rest of you doing?
Zito's gonna go out into the street and he's going to look around and see if there's any suspicious folk wandering.
At the moment, Zito, all you see are some folk shocked that are looking towards the blast, which appears to have occurred just within the courtyard, the small little courtyard before your front door.
Is anything on fire?
There's some errant flames here and there, but it looks like the flames are starting to they're just sort of smoldering. They don't appear to be spreading. What about the rest of you?
Siegfried opens his eye, notices he was slightly strumming his lute lightly. Oh, what the blazes was that? Oh my gosh, it's a fireball. Oh, my goodness, I have to be there to help the people in need. Oh, looks like some of my party members are out there. I shall go down. I'll grab my weapons and my loot, and I'll head on down outside and see if I can see anything that's looking abnormally unusual, like someone lurking around.
That was amazing.
So on point.
Okay, so let's see. Brunhild, what are you doing? Brunhild, hello.
I'm just standing there looking at everyone else.
Okay. As you're looking at everyone else, you're watching as Nicholas is trying and failing to scale the side of the building. He falls down and steps into a box, and his boot goes through the box. He now has a box for a shoe.
I'm good, guys. I'm alright.
You couldn't find it in wide, huh?
Nope, couldn't find it.
Don't worry, me neither.
Everyone's going to try to slip into any shadow that's around and try to observe people, since there's apparently no one I can assist. Or is there anyone that I can assist?
Well, right now you see a few groupings of individuals who are starting to approach the scene proper, and they're keeping a safe distance, but some of them are giving the entire group, because of the nature, what would appear to you because of the proximity of the blast, they seem to be giving you all a wide berth and not approaching you.
Well, I'm not going to hide. I'm going to go out there and see if there's, like, any way that I can save anyone here. Casting healing, or
Sure.
if someone's injured, give them some of my elixir.
And Zara, you said you were wanting to look at the bodies, correct? Zara?
Can you hear me?
I can barely hear you. Hello. I hear crackling and...
Hello?
I can kind of hear you. Hello.
Hello?
Hello.
Now?
Sort of.
Continue.
Zara, you said you're investigating the bodies. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. So you've found that apparently there are 11 bodies. If you would like to do a search of them, you may. I just need a perception check.
Alright. I'm gonna do that.
Okay. So one of the bodies apparently appears to be that of a human female. She looks like she might be elderly, and you don't recognize her from your time, integrated into the neighborhood. You see two cloaked humans, both male, and they appear to be clad in black leather armor with sheathed long swords. You see a couple of female humans and what looks to be a male half-elf. That they all seem to be wearing plain clothing. You see what looks to be two female halflings, and they may or may not have been street performers. And there were two other male halflings that were with them, and their bodies were relatively found close together. And there is one other diminutive body, which appears to be that of a gnome, wearing a burnt cloak and apparently clutching a dagger in his right hand.
I go right up to the one with the dagger.
Okay. As you're getting closer to the body, you see that one of the cloaked men is closer to him, and you can see clearly pronounced on his forearm, one of the men has a black dragon mark on his right forearm. And the gnome, just giving a look at his clothing, from what you can see, apparently it looks like his boots and his cloak are pretty filthy, like he's been spending some time possibly in the sewers. And you can see that he has a pouch on his belt. Like, no, it doesn't look like it's been disturbed.
I'm going to go up to him. Does he seem conscious?
He is quite dead. Of the 11 bodies that you have looked over, all of them are dead. They're either charred or burnt, their features burnt away, their clothing half turned to ash, bits and chunks of their bodies have been burnt away horribly. And the gnome is almost, one half of his body is almost unrecognizable, as if he were possibly at the epicenter of this blast or close to it.
I'm gonna take his dagger away and kind of kick it to the side, and then open the pouch and see what there is.
Looking inside the pouch, you see 5 gemstones.
Siegfried is scouring the crowd. Is there anyone that look like they're too intent or trying to blend out at it?
You see, Siegfried sees the owner of the herbalist shop, Fala, who is apparently scanning the crowd and scanning each of you. And when she meets Siegfried's gaze, her face sort of lights up from the recognition of seeing him, and begins waving him over.
Siegfried will prance over that way as he observes the rest of the crowd.
Mr. Siegfried, sir. I was out watering my plants in the greenhouse on the second floor of the shop when the blast blew out some of my windows. Luckily, I wasn't injured. How are you doing? It happened so close to your manor.
Well, I'm fine, but it appears that others are not. And I'm so happy that you're not injured. Did you see who or where this came from? You have any idea? How about the scorch marks on the ground? Can we determine where the blast was?
Well,
this is just
there's a lot of smoke, but I think I saw a man wearing a cloak take something from the body of that gnome over there, and then he started limping away. He was badly burnt on his side, and he was looking over his shoulder the entire time like he was afraid he was being followed. And he was headed towards the bent nail, and she points down the alleyway to the east.
I'm waiting, twirling his mustache.
Siegfried twirls his evil mustache.
Everyone! Sam! Head towards the bent nail. There's a gentleman who's wounded that may have been part of this.
And
Brunhild.
Siegfried, as you're heading back towards your friends, you see sort of a well-to-do looking woman who just sort of like she seemed to have actually come from Vincent Trench's office, and at least that's the direction that she was walking towards when Siegfried came out of the manor proper and began scanning the crowd. And she just sort of turns her nose up and says, "Disgusting." And you overhear her saying something. "I tell you, it was not a man. It was a puppet shaped like a man. A puppet without strings. I saw it on the rooftop. It hurled something into the crowd that caused the explosion. I saw those poor halflings burned alive. I saw it." And then the woman continues to just sort of flap her lips and jabber and try to tell her story to anyone who will listen to her in the nearby vicinity. And now you're starting to hear the clip-clop of horses and the sound of armor in the distance. And from the northern alleyway of opening right properly next to the manor, you see several guards emerge. And they're now blocking the alleyway opening from that end of the neighborhood. And what looks to be a sergeant who is striding forward towards the scene and sees all of you and says, "What's the meaning of this?"
Byron will attempt to fling into the shadows and head towards the bent nail, hoping that at least Siegfried or someone else is able to make it as well, and look for a limping man.
Okay. Let's have everyone except for Siegfried roll a perception check to see if you heard Siegfried say, "Let's head towards the bent nail." Nicholas, are you still attempting to climb the wall? Okay, so Zara, Zito, Byron, and
Nothing
Brunhild.
more. I'm going to kind of just observe and see what everyone else says. See if I heard Siegfried or not.
Okay. So Nicholas and Samael, you did not hear Siegfried yelling. Siegfried, did you head to your friends, or did you start heading towards the alleyway?
While they're headed that way, I'm going to intercept that guard. I'm going to walk over there and say, well, somebody set off a damn fireball is what it was. Don't you have anything in the city to protect against this kind of thing?
Sir, I need you to calm down. We've already got the watch on their way, and one of the Inquisitors as well, to begin investigating the scene. I'm going to need you to stay right where you are and do not leave this area.
Very well. Now, I'll stay right here and wait until I can find out what happened.
And so Siegfried essentially was able to get to you all and explain before the sergeant approached the scene and say, hey, this is what I learned from Fala. And then, of course, what he overheard from the elderly woman coming from Mr. Trench's office. So if you all want to head that direction, you can. Since you all know that that seems to be where Siegfried is heading.
If we all know that, then I'm going to stand there and keep this captain occupied.
Okay.
It'll keep him out of our hair while they go over there and check everything out.
So is everyone heading down the hall, down the road towards the Mint Nail?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. As you do, Siegfried and Zara, you see what looks to be a 12-year-old boy who is hiding behind hiding behind a barrel of water against one of the buildings. And he sort of peeks out, and when he sees all of you, he ducks a little bit. And then he continues to stare at all of you as you all walk by. And Zara and Siegfried, you also notice that he has a bundle in his hand, which he's attempting to hide in his shirt.
Are you alright there? And she's going to, see if she can kind of grab his hand.
And he says, "My friends, are they all right? I can't find my friends. They were right next to it when it went off."
What do your friends look like?
Well, they're street performers. They're all halflings.
And Zara.
After the explosion, I ducked behind this rain barrel, and then I heard the plop, and I found this in the barrel, and he sort of sheepishly reaches into his shirt where he was shoving something in, and he produces a necklace. And the necklace appears to have a broken clasp from a cursory glance, and there are two orangish-looking beads hanging. And you can see a series of bits where it looks like something was once attached to each of them, hanging from the necklace, equidistant to each other.
Zara's gonna get down on her knees so she's at eye level. Oh, I'm so sorry. And she's also...
I wasn't gonna keep it, I promise. And you get the impression that he's not entirely being truthful when he says that to you. He kind of has a little bit of a wild eye to him, and he's holding the necklace out to show you, but he doesn't seem like he wants to give it away.
I take him by the hand, and I'm kneeling down. I say, I'm so sorry. You know what? I think we'll find a way to find your friends and see if they're all right. Let me have this for now. Just, it might not be safe. And she's gonna just gingerly take it out of his hand.
Okay. He's holding on to it for dear life, so I need you to make a persuasion check.
All right.
he's not letting go, and he starts to go, "Mommy, Mama, Mom, Mom," and he's now pulling away from you. Like he does not, and the necklace is now starting to strain, and you can see it. It looks like it might break again.
I'm going to say, "Oh, all right, no problem. I'm gonna let go, but then I'm gonna go right and try to grapple him."
Okay, make a strength athletics check. DC won't
Can I
be
see?
very high.
All
Can I
right.
see what's going on?
If you head that direction, all of you are. Siegfried would have observed it, so you would have walked up on the scene. Okay, yeah, you very deftly grab him, and he kind of squeaks and wiggles out of your grasp and throws the necklace at you. Would you like to try to catch it?
I'm gonna try to catch it.
Make a athletics check, or no, make an acrobatics. Make a dexterity check, just a flat dexterity check.
All right.
Okay, you
That's an 11.
reach out and you begin to grab the necklace. It starts to slip through your fingers, and with your other hand, you manage to grasp it before it hits the ground. And it looks like it's a very well-made necklace. It's beautiful. Beautiful necklace. And it looks like this.
I want to walk over to her to see what's going on. Especially since I, like wrestle with.
And should I roll heading towards the bin?
Okay. So you want to? I'll put that in your inventory, Zara, if you like.
And this is kind of going back in time. Say, can you grab him?
He has scampered off.
All right. So I'm going to.
Do you all continue to after your friends?
I'm gonna go straight to Nick.
Okay. Nick, you watch as after this, a little bit of an exchange between this roughly 12-year-old little boy. He wiggled out of Zara's grasp, tossed a necklace at her, and then began running down the alleyway towards the west and out of sight.
I approach her.
Nick,
Yeah.
this kid had found this necklace in a barrel. Someone put it there. His friends were some of the performers. I don't think he was, I don't know, part of it, but this might be evidence. She produces the necklace.
Take it from her hand. Does it look like magical at all?
It looks like it once held more beads. The beads are bright orange, and they glisten in the sunlight from the morning sun. It looked like it was very fancy at one point before it was broken, where the catch was broken.
I'm gonna cast Detect Magic.
And to answer your question, Siegfried, you did not notice the child limping. How long does Detect Magic take? Is that instantaneous?
Yeah, if I cast as a spell.
Okay. You get a sense that there is a very powerful magic coming off of this.
Nick, I know we. It's great that we.
And the rest of the group you're all heading towards. Sorry, I'll get back to you in a moment. The rest of you are all heading towards the bent now, correct?
Yes.
Okay. I need all of you to make whoever is heading towards the bent now right now needs to make a perception check. Woohoo, Siegfried with that natural 20. you see a diminutive-looking individual, a small person, wearing a cloak, and he appears to be crouched over an individual who is prone on the ground. And the individual appears to be that of a Warforged. And the Warforged has the trappings and the form of something familiar to you all. It appears to be an unconscious Mr. R. And as would are any of you attempting to be stealthy at this point? Of the three who observed this. All of you saw this.
I've been trying to be stealthy the whole time I was going.
Okay, Byron, if you'll roll a stealth check for me. Siegfried and Zito, if you were attempting to be stealthy, you can roll stealth checks as well. Okay, so currently the creature is not... Zito, do you want to roll a stealth check or no?
No.
Okay. So currently the creature was sort of going through what looks like, if he has pockets, he seems to be rifling through Mr. R's pockets. And he suddenly starts, sniffs the air, and turns around and looks at you, Zito. And it's a halfling man. And his form suddenly shifts.
I'm going to fire.
And becomes vermin-like. And he hisses and opens his mouth, and his teeth begin to elongate. So, yes, I would say you get your surprise round. Both Byron and Siegfried, you would get surprise on this guy. So let me add him to the tracker for you. And then I'll begin adding you guys to the map. Alright, hopefully this map shares all right with you guys. And doesn't crash Fantasy Grounds, because we don't like that. Alright, let me put him on the map for you so you can see, and then I will throw your tokens on the map. Let's see, where are you? And you guys feel free to position yourselves on the map.
Where is this guy?
Give me 1 second and I will reveal to you.
Okay.
A lot of crying going on in the background. If you guys are sending me messages, we won't be able to read them, so you can just go ahead and ask me questions. Okay. So he's there in the map, in the far corner of the alleyway, currently hunched over the form, and he's just turned around to look and notices Zito in the distance. And are both of you attempting to attack him, or no?
I would try to be there currently at the beginning.
Okay. And again, you guys can all move your tokens where you want to be on the map. It's a big map, I apologize. Trollskull Alley is a big place.
And you said you want us to roll initiative or not?
Yes, you can all roll initiative, whoever is within the alley. I would say for now, Byron, Siegfried, and Zito can roll initiative. But if you're in the alley, you can also roll initiative if you like, because you'll be able to observe something going on if you're close to the alley. So Byron and Siegfried, this is your surprise round. You can go ahead and act.
I just noticed I can't actually do anything from this range.
Oh, you can't do anything?
Mm-mm.
No?
He's 5 feet 2 for my hand.
You could always move. Get closer.
And not true, actually. I have 5 feet of movement exactly left, actually. Alrighty, Byron, I'm sure you had a higher initiative for the surprise round anyway, so you can go first.
Alright, I'm gonna try to wing him, like in the legs, so he can't run. But I don't know how I can do that.
I'll go ahead and make an attack on him. Whatever you would like to do to him.
So I'm hidden and it's surprise.
You are wearing your. You do get surprised, so it would have advantage on your attack. As he does not notice you. You also are equipped with your brand new quiver, so you are equipped with blunt arrows.
Okay. I'm gonna use bonus action to cast Hunter's Mark on him.
Okay.
I guess that's self. And then I shall use my surprise attack.
That's definitely a hit. Pulling an arrow out of your new quiver, you can hear the sound of the higher quality arrow sliding against the mechanism. And as you pull it back, knock it, and it flies loose and stabs into the creature, who now is looking wildly around the alleyway, trying to figure out where that came from.
And I'll fire my... if he drops a 0, is he dead?
Unless you specify that you're using a blunt arrow.
I can't do that.
Okay.
I will fire him at again.
Okay. Boy, that crying is just annoying. Let me turn that crying off. Okay. That is yet another hit on the creature. This diminutive, bipedal, feral vermin-like creature, which at one time looked like a halfling and now appears to look more vicious and feral. His features shifted, his skin seemed to melt away into that of a furry face.
And I'll move 2 feet to there and
Okay. Does that complete your surprise round?
Yes.
Okay. Siegfried, what would you like to do?
I'm gonna aim my crossbow, and since I have disadvantage because of
The distance?
being at
Okay.
yeah,
So go ahead and click disadvantage on the die roller before you roll your attack.
and I'm going to kind of try to aim non-lethally at him.
Unfortunately, it doesn't work for ranged attacks.
I can't aim for his knee.
No, there's no called shots in 5th edition, unfortunately. Unless you have some, like, crazy, like, boxing glove arrow somewhere stashed in your pack.
Let's see if that changes everything because he doesn't want to kill him.
Well, again, go ahead and take your action. You don't know what Byron is doing. Byron's in the shadows, so you don't see him.
But I saw the dude get shot. And
Correct. You
just
did see an arrow get shot, so no metagaming. Just go ahead and take your action.
Well, Siegfried doesn't want to kill him either. No, I'm gonna roll a d20 to decide what he does because he's also pretty pissed off that he's on top of Mr. R.
Okay. Wow, that was almost a crit. And I don't know what you just tried to roll.
I'm gonna say he's pretty pissed off because of the 20 there, because I basically said the upper stuff and it would have been a 20.
Well, that wasn't an attack. That was just a d20. So.
No, I know I wasn't rolling an attack. I was just kind of rolling to see how Siegfried would feel.
Okay, is that all you're doing on your surprise round?
He's gonna shoot.
Okay, that's a hit. Loading your hand crossbow and your bolt. Nothing. Completely resisted it. And looking back, Byron, we're going to have a conversation about your ammo
Okay.
after the battle, because you wouldn't necessarily, unless you were rolling checks, you wouldn't necessarily know that you need to use a silvered arrow on this creature.
That's going to be my standard round.
Okay. Just saying.
I got you.
Okay.
I like to point out that worked perfectly for Siegfried's mentality.
All right, is that the end? That would be the end of the surprise round for those that observed it. Unless Zito, you want to do something.
I don't think I would have a surprise round.
Yeah, no, you wouldn't. So this creature now shrieks in pain from the multiple arrows that are piercing it. It seems to, like, pull your arrow out of its body, Siegfried, and then you just hear it yell out, "Attack!" And from the tops of the rooftops, you all see several individuals aiming crossbows. They all leap up from under coverings on the rooftops. And the first one begins running towards the edge of the roof, and you watch as he snaps his fingers and a flattened crystal, glowing green crystal device materializes beneath his legs, and he begins flying out over the alleyway. And levels a crossbow at Zito. the bolt flies across, arcing out, and just manages to hit the cobblestone road right next to you, Zito. And Byron, it is your turn again.
I'm going to concentrate on the same guy that's over R. He has not reacted, so I still have the damage. Yeah.
He has not gone yet, correct. And that is a hit. And pulling back your arrow, flies across and catches him in his eye. And the diminutive creature falls over the unconscious form of Mr. R, backwards, his legs kicking in the air as he dies.
And as a bonus action, I'll transfer Hunter's Mark to another target. And I'm done.
Okay. And Zito, it's your turn.
Zio's going to take cover behind this wagon over here.
Okay.
And he will cast Mage Armor on himself.
Okay. Is that your turn?
That is my turn.
Brunhild, it's your turn.
Can I call for like Samael to come over here?
As part of your action, you can certainly yell out, and we'll see if Samael heard you.
Okay.
Because he was more towards the front of the manor. Unless he followed after you guys.
Well, then I'll make sure to yell extra loud.
Okay. Samael, you can make a perception check to see if you heard her yelling. And Brunhild, you can go ahead and take your action. Oh yeah, you heard her. You heard the sound. You heard the sound of Brunhild yelling out from echoing down the alleyway. And several of the people around you are now looking in that direction. Including the sergeant.
All right. I can't walk towards them.
Sure you can. Now keep in mind, they're either perched on the roof or currently hovering in the air. But you do have ranged weapons.
Yeah, but I don't think, someone of my height's gonna be able to throw something up to a roof.
Sure you can. What kind of ranged weapons do you have? So are you also hiding behind the wagon?
No, I misclicked.
Okay.
No, my only throwing weapons is my hand axes, which I only have 5 of, and my net. And I don't want to capture anybody.
Okay.
I don't need any new pets.
All right. Is that all you want to do then, is move next to Zito?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. Samuel, you are free to roll initiative on the next round.
Okay, just tell me when.
Sure thing. The other thugs are now repeating the same thing that their companion was doing, clicking, snapping their fingers, and from underneath them, as they leap over the edge of the roof, these crystalline flying discs emerge. going to attempt to plug you, Brunhild, with his crossbow.
Wonderful.
And you just feel this bolt manage to sink several inches into the fleshy part next to where your neck, the soft part of your armor is, where the metal separation is. And you now have
Ow.
this bolt sticking out of your clavicle. The other one is now screeching, pulling out some weapon, and he is zooming over the dead body and the prone body of Mr. R, and he is coming straight at all of you.
Good, I thought they were just gonna hover around forever.
And Siegfried, it's your turn.
Ah, yes, the great Siegfried. Sorry, it's hard for me to view the live because I can't zoom out with my laptop.
Well, you can always drag. The first one, Black Leather Clad Thug 1, is the closest to you, so you can always on the combat tracker drag your target reticule onto his option, or tell me which one you want to attack, and I will target him for you. There you go, you got it.
Well, it's more so you get to see where they are and how far everyone is versus anything.
Right. I just imagine Samael is beating a trash can in the background, trying to like inspire all of you.
I know he was so ready to kill stuff, and then you get stuck babysitting the guards.
I rolled my initiative, by the way.
Oh my god.
Somehow changed his mind. Went back up front.
Siegfried, what would you like to do on your turn?
I'm going to try to do Dissonant Whispers on the one that is closest to me.
Okay, go right ahead.
I whisper, I want those four thingies, and I'm gonna take it from all of you.
Also, Siegfried, you can go ahead and take that spell we talked about. I decided that you should go ahead and try it out, see how it works for you. And that guy failed. He rolled an 8 on his wisdom save.
He has to move his full movement away from me. Hey, I rolled one full die out of 3.
Okay, so does he do that on his turn?
Let me double check that.
Okay, while you're checking that, the next, unless you have something you want to do as your bonus action, we'll move to the next person.
Immediately use his reaction if available to move as far as his speed allows.
Oh, okay. Well, in that case, he is going to head back over towards the roof. Far, far away from you. Just watch that. After firing a bolt at, or after drawing his weapon and looking like he's getting ready to come down at all of you, he suddenly his eyes go wide and shocked, and he immediately turns tail 180 and begins flying away.
Little bitch, get back here and fight me like a man.
The other individuals continue the same, they keep repeating the same activity and are now rushing off of the roof toward all of you. And go ahead and said, Samuel, since you rolled so low, I'll say that you can go ahead and take your action.
Alright, I'm gonna yell to the guard. Keep an eye on these people up here. I'll go see what that is. Catch up with me. I'm gonna move to that.
Yeah, I would say for all intents and purposes, your positioning is fine, but you technically were all the way over where... Technically, Zara and Nicholas were where you are, and you were over where they are.
What?
But that's okay. We'll just go ahead and we'll go ahead and say you guys
I thought we were over there, so technically we're over here then.
Technically, you're over there, and Sam
Okay.
was over there. So we'll just say, Sam, that you heard, and you're running, and you're over there.
Okay. Do I still get an action?
Yes, I'll go ahead and say you can have your action. And Zara and Nicholas, you'll be rolling initiative next turn.
Yeah, no problem. I just didn't know where we were, so that's why I was like, yep.
That's
I thought
okay.
we were over there.
I was getting the train deja vu vibes with Samuel running the whole.
And this is some bitchin' music, right?
Yeah. I'm holding my hand up, blasting with lightning.
Okay. A thick, sinewy, ropey bit of flesh comes unfurling off your arm as you gesture with your hand, and lightning bolt arcs out at the individual who is flying towards your friends. And Nicholas and Zara, if you'll be so kind as to... Actually, no. Actually, we'll go ahead and say it's the next round. Here we go. It should automatically roll everyone's initiative. There we go.
Oh, whoops.
Well, Nicholas, it's your turn.
After I finish talking with Zara and taking the necklace and putting it in my backpack, I'm going to... I hear them, right? I hear something's going on.
I would say that with your passive perception and the fact that you just watched Samael hauling ass past you.
Like, what's going on? Am I out? Alright, Zara, we gotta go. I'm gonna use my movement to go here. At a corner in the corner. And we'll look up. Or look around, I should say. Do I see anything from here?
It sounds my butt.
From there, you see several individuals flying on those familiar discs that you've seen various individuals flying around on the city. What you know to be source lights.
I'm gonna point up at that.
See the green crackling lightning from the underside of the jagged section of this chunk of crystal they're flying on.
Holy crap! Nito, are those bad guys?
Oh, they're attacking us, so I assume they are.
Alright, then I'm gonna use that little fancy wand I got in it. A magic missile and use one charge.
Okay.
And hit him, so it's a 1d6 plus 1. Where's the attack?
I thought magic missile was a D4.
Yeah, magic missile is 1d4 plus 1.
The wand, it said... Hold on, let me...
It has D6 plus 1 charges.
Oh, okay, so that's what, so it's 1. That's what, that's D4.
Well, yeah. Yeah, Siegfried whipped out the bass, and now he's just slapping the bass in the background.
And I'm going to end my turn.